Hi everyone, and welcome back to Tarot for You 444. We've got the running joke about how I need new curtains, so we'll start with that. And we're going to also say hi to this guy because he's always having fun. So yesterday I did a video number 1 on the Ascension series, and that was the explanation of how the mind and the soul can move through in the consciousness levels or frequencies. So today I want to move on to speaking a little bit more about the mind and how important the mind is. So this is video number 2 in the series. I'm going to try and do a video each day so that you can understand more about Ascension and how important it is for your journey in staying in a high vibrational consciousness, excuse me, or frequency. So at the moment, with what's going on in the world, there is a very low frequency occurring in some people. And so this is where we need to take a deep breath. So we're going to breathe in now together and then out. And I want you to imagine that when we do this, we're going to do it a couple more times before we start here. We're going to breathe in love, okay? Some of you aren't speaking your truth at the moment, which is why my throat chakra is playing up. That usually happens during my videos because I am empathic. So what I want to say to you now is we're going to breathe in love, and anything that no longer serves you, we're going to breathe out. So we're going to do 3 big breaths, breathing in love and breathing out anything that no longer serves us. Okay, so before we start this video, we're going to feel clear. We're going to feel a bit better than we did before we started watching. Okay, so let's go. First deep breath in and out. Good. In and out. Again. Wow, can you feel the difference? Oh, the throat chakra sometimes will unblock when you do that, and also when you sing. So you can literally just go la 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 la. Sometimes when I used to sing, I used to go, to warm up, I would just do la 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 la. Okay, I haven't warmed up, so this is how you would warm up before you would sing. It's just a little exercise, so you can do it slower or faster or in a different key. Okay, so just la 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 la. That was really off key, but it doesn't matter. It's just the point is to get the throat chakra moving. Okay, so you can just I did happy birthday yesterday, so happy birthday is also a way of unblocking the throat chakra. So you can sing happy birthday to anyone, to your cat, to your dog, to your, I don't know, pet grasshopper, whoever you like. So before I get into the mind for the Ascension series, I'm going to draw a well-being card for you today from my this is the teachings of Abraham well-being cards. Okay, so this is Esther and Jerry Hicks. So she is Esther Hicks is channels and speaks about law of attraction. You may have heard of her. She's quite brilliant to listen to on YouTube. A lot of great teachings there with regards to the law of attraction and many other topics as well. So okay, a well-being card for today in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Okay, through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. Okay, through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. Okay, so on the back of this card it says, most say, when I get that, I will be joyful. But you must be joyful first. You must start with the determination that I will not settle for less than feeling good. And that's a really important message because, most people do think that, once they've got the cars, the clothes, the shoes, the house, the perfect husband or wife or partner or lover or financial means to do things, then they'll be happy. But the journey to all of that is where the joy is. So happiness comes from within, and then you can accumulate all of these other things later on too if you want to. But some people don't want to. Some people don't need all of the stuff. Okay? So that's not for everyone. Some people want the stuff too, which is fine. You're allowed to want the stuff if you want the stuff. So I just want to do one more card. I just feel that someone here watching today needs a different message than that. So I'm going to just draw that, and then I'll get into the second part of the series. Oh wow, it's pretty much the same message. My purpose in life is joy. And that's the truth. My purpose in life is joy. The basis of your life is freedom. The purpose of your life is joy. You are free to choose new avenues for joy, and in your joyous growth, you will add to the experience of all that is. Okay, so yesterday I was speaking about this. I was saying that if you follow joy, truth, and love, then it will bring you into a higher state of ascension. Okay, so today we are talking about the mind. So I've decided to call this guy Harry. I don't know why. He just reminds me of a Harry. So Harry here, we're going to use him as an example. Okay, so let's just say Harry is a person with a mind, a body and a soul. Today we're going to focus on his mind. Okay, so Harry's mind, let's say, excuse me, my throat chakra is still unblocking. Do some of you need to say something to someone that you know? I feel as though, excuse me, some of you are stuck and needing to speak to someone. Sorry, this is a little side thing. Someone, you're not speaking your truth. You're being muffled somehow. Okay. Excuse me. That I apologize for coughing. That's a really strong message for one of you listening today. You need to tell that person, that partner or friend, your truth. Okay? Otherwise it's going to cause you to feel stuck. Alright, so that's a side message. Alright, so the mind. Harry's mind is a wonderful thing that has been put into his body. And so what it can do is it can problem solve. It can hold, subconscious and conscious thought. And it can also have an internal dialogue with self. So it can tell the self that it's good or bad. It can look at other people and judge other people or places or things. It's great at problem solving as well. Okay, so the mind is the thing that tells us everything from when we're children. So if someone had a bad childhood, if Harry was brought up with horrible narcissistic parents that told him he was no good and he should do better at school, and he every time he tried, he wasn't doing a great job, when he played soccer or football, depending on what country you live in, same thing, but he wasn't doing the best, and why did he wear that color t-shirt that particular day when he would have looked better in yellow rather than blue, when he went to the birthday party, or just that constant, those horrible types of parents that can be really nasty and narcissistic, right? So what happens to Harry now is that his brain starts believing all of these things over time. So from a very young age, his brain will start a dialogue, an internal dialogue. The outer dialogue's already coming from the parents, but now the internal dialogue will start saying, well, I'd really like to wear that piece of clothing today when I go and visit my cousin, but it's probably not the right colour. Or, I don't think I want to play football or soccer anymore because I am not good enough. Or maybe I won't go to that party next week because the girl I like won't think I'm good enough. Okay, so this mental dialogue begins at a very early age. So if someone has had, a constant array of mindset placed upon them from the outward sources, then this can highly affect their own internal dialogue. And this is also true for people who are highly religious. And I'm not getting into a religion debate here. I'm just saying this can happen from a very young age if someone's brought up highly religious. This can also happen from a very young age if someone has been abused. This can also happen from, watching too much television about politics, or watching news all the time where all of the stories are negative. The constant negative bombardment of, for right now on the TV, it's all about the virus, or, the financial system, or, everything that's going wrong with the world. All right. So these outer dialogues coming in constantly, whether they're from parents, from organized religion, from politics, from friends, from, anything, like waves are coming into the mind constantly. And this person here, Harry, starts having his own negative internal dialogue because, from what he's heard, the world is a very scary place. Perhaps, if he's highly religious, he might think that, God will punish him if he doesn't do certain things. His own parents don't like it when he wears that colour t-shirt. And he begins lacking self-confidence and self-esteem, and so he could become depressed, he could become anxious, he could even become suicidal at one point or another. And this happens to a lot of people in the world, especially through, if they have PTSD or some sort of trauma in their life, in their childhood, young adulthood, any time in their life, really. Okay. Okay, so the mind is vulnerable. It's literally a piece of meat up here that absorbs everything from a very young age. We're constantly absorbing. So let's just say now, this isn't Harry anymore. We're going to call this Bob. Okay, so this is Bob, which is Harry's twin. Let's say. Well, he can't be his twin because he's from a different family. So he's not his twin, but let's just say Bob, okay? Excuse the metaphors, but I just find it easier to explain when I do metaphors. Or parables, or whatever you want to call them. All right, so Bob now, he's grown up in a different family, and his parents have been loving, supportive, giving. He watched really cool Disney movies. He was allowed to go and play with his friends often. He was never allowed to watch the news because it wasn't appropriate for him. But he was showered with love and cuddles and all of the things that kids need, really good food. You know, the whole environment was very healthy, okay? And so he grows up to be someone with a positive internal dialogue because his brain was given all of these healthy things from the get-go, okay? So he doesn't suffer from, you know, PTSD or anxiety or depression or any of those things. I mean, he's had some sad times in his life like everyone, you know, but he feels pretty stable. He sees the world as a good place, as a happy place, as a place where he feels safe. And that word is really important here, safe, because when we feel safe, our own internal dialogue will be much healthier if we do feel safe. Okay, when we feel off balance, when we feel afraid, when we feel that we have no support, then illness can come in, or, you know, mental instability for some, or, you know, for some, you know, dramatically, you know, then suicide and other things can come to light, or a nervous breakdown even. Okay, so what I'm suggesting here is that, you know, many of us already know that the environment that we have from a young age will affect what's going on in here. So if you've ever met a person, you know, maybe you've gone shopping or something, and they're absolutely beside themselves, in a panic or yelling or creating some sort of drama, a lot of the time that particular person will have had a very difficult upbringing, will have had this constant outer dialogue coming at them from parents, from boyfriends, from girlfriend, from friend, from you know, partner, from mother, from father, from the, you know, the news, from religion, from politics, from, you know, on and on it goes. And so we could say that they're pretty bleeped up, without saying a rude word, and acting very much in a way that we wouldn't want to communicate with. You know, those people that are just all drama oriented, and, you know, they're yelling and screaming, and they're you know, they're out of control. You know, they're those people that are like, yeah, whatever, you know, F you, and, you know, I'll kick your ass, or whatever. You know, those people that are angry all the time, or that are, you know, unstable. They're unstable, right? And there's a reason behind that. You know, they've been bombarded, the mind has been bombarded with all of this stuff, and so their internal dialogue is unhealthy. Okay, and these people can be highly volatile and very scary to be around because they are unpredictable. Okay, they may do toxic behaviors, drinking, smoking, substance abuse, drug abuse. You know, they may be violent, they may be highly unpredictable. Okay, so this is why the mind becomes such an important place to begin when we're speaking about ascension. You know, even someone who has been through a trauma in their life, you can hear the birds here, they're really beautiful. I'll just be quiet so you can hear. Wow, that's a huge flock of birds, called corellas. They're white. Corellas, if you wanted to look them up. They're very beautiful. Okay, so this dialogue to self becomes really important, and then maintaining the switching off of dialogue around you that's coming from other sources, whether that's friends, family, partners, the news, politics, religion. I'm not having a go at religion or politics. I'm just saying that sometimes the doctrine may not be congruent with who you are. some religions are, you know, beautiful. I mean, everyone has got their own thing, and that's not, I'm not here to debate politics or religion. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that what we get bombarded with in the mind creates our either healthy or unhealthy internal dialogue, and this spans for years and years. And the subconscious mind, right? So the mind behind the conscious mind is the best way to explain this mind, will pick up on everything, and it will hold all those memories and store them. This is why a PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder soldier coming back from war may be terrified if he hears a loud bang. Even though the loud bang isn't war related, it will bring him back to that time of trauma. Okay, just as a rape victim, excuse me, I hope no one is that here. But I'm just saying, you know, a person who's been through any kind of trauma, you know, if they heard a voice similar, you know, let's say in the case of rape, or even tried to have a relationship with another partner, it might bring back that memory and it might flood them with fear. Okay, so some of you need to speak your truth. I'm going to say that again. Okay. What I want you to understand here is that what we tell our mind, what we allow into the mind, whether outwardly or inwardly, is the most important thing we can do for our ascension. Okay, tomorrow we will talk more about, I think we'll go and talk about the physical body, because also that's important, but I want us to see these three things as separate. So we've got the mind as a separate thing to the physical body, to the soul. All right, so we've got three separate things that when working together can come together in a lovely way of ascension, or staying high vibrational, which is what ascension is. Ascension is staying high vibrational at a frequency that you can maintain. Okay, right, so now we're going to get Harry, and we can't go back in time and change what his parents said to him. We can't go back in time and tell him, you know, everything's fine, everything was lovely in your childhood and all of that, because it wasn't. Okay, that's the truth. The truth is that Harry didn't have a good childhood, and so his internal dialogue began, you know, as a very self-defeating, lack of self-esteem, lack of purpose even, which changed him, as opposed to, remember we were talking about Bob over here who had a great upbringing. All right, so now what we've got to do with Harry is we've got to retrain his brain to know that we can put positive dialogue in. All right, so from the outer sources we're going to put positive dialogue in, and we're also going to do it as an inner dialogue. So we're going to say, perhaps we could do some I am statements. I am naturally healthy. I am naturally safe. I always say naturally because naturally denotes that you don't need any intervention. So if we say I am naturally healthy, I am naturally safe, I am naturally abundant. Okay, you know, you can add as many I ams as you like. So over time, this consistent effort by the brain as an internal dialogue will reach the body. The body will start believing this to be true, because the body has already believed all of this other stuff from the past, from the childhood, and it became depressed and sad and anxious and all of these other things, perhaps even got PTSD. So now we change the dialogue. I am healthy. I am safe. I am abundant. Everything is working out for me. You know, my family and friends are always safe and happy. I have a wonderful life. Okay? So that's the internal dialogue. This is when we can meditate and, you know, and go into a state of peace. We can connect with God or our inner self if we don't believe in God. You might not believe in God, you might believe in Buddha or whatever. It doesn't matter what you believe in, that's not the point. I will never ever push any religion or any political views on my channel. You know, that's up to everyone what they decide to do. We all have choice. Okay, so I just wanted to add that as a little side note. Okay, so now the inner dialogue is starting to, you know, we can look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful, I am safe, I am abundant, I am naturally healthy, you know, everything is working out for me. Okay? Even if you don't believe it, you can start saying it as a dialogue. Then we start shutting down all the all the outward dialogues that are coming in that have been negative, right? So if you've been watching the news and it's affecting you, you turn the news off. If Uncle David keeps ringing you up and telling you how crap you are at, I don't know, cooking. I'm really crap at cooking. So I just added that in, but I'm just saying, right? You say to Uncle Dave, you know, you either change the subject or stop talking to Uncle Dave for a while so that you can get yourself right. Right? So we've got this situation where people, places and things that no longer serve our mental health need to go. So if someone's telling you you're not good enough, if someone is being narcissistic to you, if someone is giving you that feeling, that sick feeling in your stomach, it's time to say, see you later. Even if it's just for a while you get yourself on track. I'm not suggesting that you cut off your whole family or do anything drastic. I'm just saying that, you know, there is a hand that you were born with that can say, no, I'm sorry, but that doesn't resonate with me. What you're saying, no, right? You can say that to people. You are completely allowed to say that. A great example is a client of mine I was speaking with was complaining about a relationship they were having. And of course I won't mention names or anything, but, you know, privacy is of the utmost importance. But they were having a situation where, you know, the person they were dealing with kept just complaining about everything they were doing. You know, like, well, what are you doing like that for? How come you're wearing that shirt? Why are you, you know, just the constant bombardment of negative. And into the end, the person got so angry that they said, look, mate, either you are for me or you're against me. So if you're for me, how about you start acting like it? And if you're against me, then unfriend me. Don't be my friend anymore. Okay? So it's that simple. You know, you can make a choice to just say no. No. You know, you can just take a break from a person. You don't have to unfriend them. I mean, everyone unfriends everyone as if, you know, people are, you know, disposable, which is horrible. People ghost people, unfriend people, you know, are horrible to people. But I'm here to say everyone's going through their own thing. Everyone has had this outward dialogue coming in, you know, since they were born. I mean, if they're 50 years old and a complete and utter dropkick, it's because of all this dialogue that's been coming into them for many, many years. You know, there are many, many people who've had trauma, many, many people who are suffering, terribly, terribly suffering internally, that you know nothing about. Many people think daily about committing suicide. Many people think daily about how horrible they look, you know, when they look in the mirror each day. You know, we live in a society where judgment of others is huge. People are judged all the time for what they wear, how they speak, how they act, you know, what they do. You know, a horrible example might be, oh, Nancy, did you see her when we went to the wedding? She was wearing that horrible, you know, that horrible dress, and she looks so drab. She looks so terrible, and, you know, her legs are so skinny. Now, people like that, I mean, that's just plain awful, number one. But people like that have obviously had an internal dialogue regarding looks, and an outer dialogue coming in that, you know, if you don't look good, then you're nothing. You know, this whole advertisement thing about the beauty world, you know, you've got to have the perfect lips, the perfect eyeshadow, the perfect hair. Mind you, mine's all wet because I got out of the bath. And I don't care. But I'm just saying, like, you know, there's this thing where, you know, we're supposed to look perfect. We're supposed to, you know, are we really supposed to have, you know, plastic faces and bodies? And, you know, I mean, for some, you know, they want to do it as an enhancement, so that's a different thing. But, you know, is this what we've come to as a society? Is to judge people on every single thing. You know, I mean, today, as an example, I'm not wearing any makeup at all. You know, I mean, really, I should probably have put some on, but I just felt guided to do this video, so I didn't bother. But does that matter? Does that make me any less of a person than someone who has, you know, caked on the makeup and has, you know, I don't know, put the filler in their lips, or fake eyelashes, or, you know, is wearing a sexy red dress or whatever? I mean, does it really matter? I mean, that can be beautiful too, and I can also do that too. But I'm just asking you to think about these things. You know, for men, the internal dialogue is always, I need to make enough money, I need to be strong, I need to be a hero, right? They've got all of this outward information coming in, constantly bombarding them, that they need to be this absolute hero of a man that goes out and works and, you know, brings home the bacon, and the bacon as in, you know, money, and, you know, that can conquer the world. You know, they need to be strong, they need to, you know, put an axe in their hand and chop wood. You know, they need to be a He-Man or a, you know, or a superhero. And that's also a dialogue that comes in for men. Just as women are told, you know, you need to look beautiful, you need to wear that sexy red dress, you need to put lip filler on, you need to, you know, bake cookies, you need to have 10 kids, you need to, you know, I don't know, comb your eyelashes, whatever it is, right? Is these dialogues just coming in, and then the self-esteem disallows the person to feel good, because it's shattered. Because how do we keep up with those things? They're impossible. You know, what if you're born, for some people who are born with a disability? What if you're born, you know, with Down syndrome? You know, you would never look like a model on, you know, the advertisement kind. you would never live up to the expectation that society puts on people, you know. And Down syndrome people, just as a side note here, I worked with them in my when I was a young adult. I used to work with them, and they were the most beautiful people ever. You know, I mean, their look isn't the same, but their heart space was joyous, loving, happy. Many of them didn't care. Many of them don't even know that they've got Down syndrome. They just are pure joy. They go from joyful moment to joyful moment to joyful moment to joyful moment. And the card we got today, my purpose in life is joy. Your purpose in life is not to live up to all of these outward expectations of who you should be, or to tell yourself inwardly that you aren't good enough. You are good enough. You're perfect in every way. Whether you've got wet hair, no makeup, crappy curtains. I love my crappy curtains, right? Whether you know, are Harry or Bob, it doesn't matter. All of this can be changed. It takes work to change the mind, especially if there's been trauma, especially if there's, you know, been things going on in your life that have been really difficult. It is exceptionally difficult, right? Okay, I think that's enough on the mind today. So I want you to know that you just as a last thing, you can say these I am statements, and you can look in the mirror and learn to love yourself despite what's gone on in your past, despite what your partner thinks of you, despite what your friends think of you, despite what anyone has ever said about you. If you've been bullied at school, if you've had sexual trauma, if you've had violent trauma, if you've had any kind of trauma, I'm telling you that you can change the dialogue within yourself. And you can cut out people, places and things that no longer serve you. Toxic behaviours can also be taken away. The only reason people go to these toxic behaviours is because they're trying to cope. That can be food, that can be alcohol, that can be drugs, that can be cigarettes, that can be vaping, that can be sex addiction, that can be narcissistic tendencies, that can be, what else can it be? You know, that whole being judgmental of others, that whole drama, you know, oh, well, I'd never hang around with her, she's just not good enough for me, kind of thing, right? That's narcissistic anyway. Right, so you don't need to block your whole family or your whole friends list, but you do need to have a hand that says no if they're overstepping their boundaries and making you feel like you're not good enough. Because we need to have a healthy dialogue that's congruent with who we are. And this will help highly in keeping the higher frequency consciousness. Okay, you cannot keep yourself at a higher frequency if you are stuck in the lower emotions of sadness, of grief, of depression, of anxiety, of feeling small, being belittled by other people, or telling yourself you're not good enough. You can't ascend, you can't stay in a higher vibrational frequency if you don't love the self. So we start with getting the people, places, things, news programs off of us, and then we have this internal dialogue where we can say, yes, I do love myself, I am good enough, I am naturally healthy, I am abundant. It doesn't matter if I have crappy curtains. I'm still a beautiful person either way, whether I live in a mansion or whether I live, you know, on the beach in a tent. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. None of that matters. Okay? So, I want to give away 3 more readings today for people I've guided to in the comments. So all you need to do is comment your name down below, and I will reach out to you if you've won a reading and let you know how to contact me for that. I am really enjoying this Ascension series, and I will be back with a twin flame reading very soon, because Divine Masculine, he's wanting to say some more things. So let's say goodbye to Harry and Bob. And if we can just turn back time and give Harry a good childhood now, that'd be good. Hey, we'll just pretend we have a time machine, and he's also had a great childhood now. That'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? I'm sending you so much love from Australia, and it's a really beautiful day here. The sun is shining and the birds are singing, and you know, we're having that great internal dialogue. We're breathing in love, breathing out any toxicity, any people, places or things that no longer serve us. Okay, we're going to fake it till we make it. All right, we're going to keep telling ourselves that we're great. Everything is working out for me, even if it's not. We're going to keep doing that, and eventually the frequency change is going to come up to here, and everything that's also at that frequency is going to come in and come in and come in and come in, and we're going to follow our joy in every moment. So we're going to go from our joyful moment to the next joyful moment, to the next joyful moment. Like for me this morning, very quickly, I got up, I took in a deep breath, I pat my dog, I said good morning to my son, right? I went outside and saw what a beautiful day it is. I had a beautiful bath, nice and warm. I felt beautiful, right? I fed the birds. And then I came to do this video with wet hair and bad curtains. And I'm still happy. Even though I have bad curtains and wet hair, I'm still happy. So now I'm going to, when I finish with you, I'm going to move to my next joyful moment. And that's going to be to wash the dishes. And even though secretly I don't like doing that, I'm going to put on my favorite music while I do that. So even washing the dishes or washing up or you know, doing the dishes is going to become a behavior or a thing in my life that's joyful. Okay, because I'll be listening to my favorite music, so I won't even remember that I did the dishes. It's going to be so fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to treat every moment, you know, I'm not perfect, like, of course, but I'm going to try and treat every moment with joy. So from that joyful thing to the next joyful thing to the next joyful thing, I'm going to turn off the news if it's not serving me. Hang on a moment. Yeah, I've got to go anyway because someone wants to talk with me. So I'll see you really soon in my next video. Okay, have a great day everyone. Bye.